It's been a long time since we did an After Dog, hasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to APDCAD, Autopod Decepticast After Dog. This is your host, Ryan, Sexy Jet, and I'm breaking down all the moves, and here we go with the sexy... Oh no, they're coming!
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Autopod Decepticast. This is your weekly podcast that delivers a minute-by-minute breakdown of the 1986 Transformers movie, and this is episode 60, which means we're going to be covering the 59:01 to 60-minute mark of the movie. This is your host speaking. My name is Aaron, and joining me, as always, are the up, up, down, down, and left, right to my BA start. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm Konami Ryan.
And I'm Contra Caleb.
That works better with your
Caleb
name.
would have been better. You could have been like Rygar.
Does that code work on Rygar?
I don't know. Oh, I get it. I see. It only can be...
It's the Konami code. It's in the
you
name.
You can only have a name that's tied to the Konami code. Let's talk about it. Gradius, was that one that used it?
I believe it is, yeah. You get all weapons, I think.
So the Konami company put that code into a lot of their games, specifically their Contra being the big one.
That was the big one. Gradius Life Force,
Which is, yeah,
was a sequel to Gradius.
that's all I know.
You were little ships inside of a...
And
I
it
know
is
it works a lot more.
featured in the movie Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, whenever King Candy accesses like the matrix of the code, he has to enter that on a NES controller, if I'm not mistaken.
Other games that start with R for you. You could be Road Fighter Ryan.
Ugh.
You could be Rush in
Attack.
Yes.
I have that game. I love that game.
I think that game used the Konami code.
Does it?
Yeah.
There we
It's
go.
a Konami game.
We did it.
If it does, I've never used it on Russian Attack because that's not the easiest game.
Gradius series, the Contra series, apparently some of the Castlevania series can use it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series, Dance Dance Revolution, the Metal Gear series.
Metal Gear.
And that code would commonly give you a similar thing, or
No,
vary from
It would
game
be
to
varied
game.
sometimes, yeah.
Obviously, the most famous being in Contra, where you get 30 men.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that brings me to a question I was going to ask. Do you guys remember the show Captain N, the Game Master?
Absolutely.
No.
Caleb by then was hanging out
Finger
at
and
the park,
broads.
Nope. Was not doing that.
touching ovaries.
Oh, good. How long are his fingers?
I mean, look at him. They call him fingers.
You know, they call him fingers, but I never see him fing.
So, Captain and the Game Master, or Caleb, was a game in which I'm trying to remember the main character.
A cartoon
It was
show.
a cartoon on Saturday mornings.
Uh-huh.
The main character was, I think, in the real world. And
Yeah, he was sucked into the
game
TV.
world.
Like that is a real common thing in the 80s and 90s,
Right,
being sucked
right.
into another world.
Kid Video.
Whoa!
Kid Video, a cartoon no one remembers that I loved.
I remember not watching it. It was like it came on around like 11 o'clock.
remember
It was like
not
the
watching
batch.
it?
Yeah. I remember
Specifically,
whenever the
no.
intro would come on and the kid would get sucked into the television, I would turn off
That's
and
when
go
you're
do
done.
other stuff.
I love that show. That is my ringtone, is the Kid Video theme song.
Oh, we'll have to play that for the people.
I will put it in right now.
Real
It's getting me going, it's keeping me moving on my system. I'm blaming on and on. People saying I'm crazy, 'cause I'm always on my own. I flies around me, I take just turns me on. From my video to my radio. It's getting me rocking, it's getting me moving on. From my video to my radio.
I'm taking you to the flip side.
when I for Saturday morning cartoons, I always I had the TV guide, and I would
Oh my god.
I would map out what I was going to watch,
Sure.
during this block.
Absolutely.
Because you had to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
I'd run it from,
It wasn't like today's on-demand programming.
That's right.
You had to pick a
You had
channel.
to pick a channel. When I was real little,
What was your lineup, Caleb? Your personal lineup?
I know that some of the
Going
ones.
channel hopping.
Yeah. If I got up early enough, which wasn't always, but I would get up. Sometimes I'd get up early before the cartoons would even get going, and they had something on called the Farm Report. And
Oh my God.
And I had to sit there and wait for the.
You had to, because you just want. That's the thing is, you just wanted to watch TV, so you're like, well,
Right.
I guess I have to watch this.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
5 stations.
Yeah.
Farm Report.
It's just bitterly watching
And then-
Family Feud.
Yeah, and Farm Report would then roll into usually.
Farm Report.
I think Smurfs.
Corn's growing real well.
Smurfs, definitely Muppet Babies.
Yeah, sure.
Which is I need
They'll
to
make your
rewatch
dreams
that.
come true.
Yeah, that was always a really good cartoon for me. I liked it. Garfield and Friends. Gummy Bears was real. I really liked Gummy Bears. Those are the big ones I can think of as far as Saturday morning cartoon.
Right.
Transformers and G.I.
And Ninja
Joe,
Turtles.
and
That was all afternoon
that was all
shows.
afternoon
Well,
programming.
Transformers at first, I think, was a Saturday morning
I don't
show. I
remember-
remember watching it on Saturday morning.
I don't ever remember that, but I do think that DuckTales and
Woo.
the airplane.
Oh,
the
Tailspin. Those were definitely after.
That was Disney Afternoon.
Yes.
So my memory might be wrong about Transformers being on Saturday morning, but I remember as a little kid, Hulk Hogan's Rock and Roll Wrestling.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, I think. But I was so into Pac-Man and Donkey Kong as a really little kid for some reason. They had shows, but I don't remember that much about them. But then in the middling years, Muppet Babies for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Garfield and Friends. How'd you guys feel about U.S. Acres?
Oh, I liked it fine,
I
but
watched it.
then again, I watched at the time you're not really watching with a critical eye. You're just like, well, this is a cartoon that's on.
Yeah, that's exactly right. This is my option.
And then by whenever Soul Train comes on, cartoons are over.
Right. Or American Bandstand.
American Bandstand
if
also.
you're in
yeah.
the Midwest.
I don't know why I went Soul Train. Maybe maybe I'm just cooler than you guys.
You probably are. But yeah, the most of those shows are the same. But Captain N was definitely one I watched.
Oh, I love that show.
It was one that I was totally into, and I read up a little bit about it. And it was created by a Nintendo staff member and magazine editor named Randy Studdard. He created and developed the concept. Nintendo later took the ideas and developed the cartoon series, neither crediting or compensating
Whoa.
its creator.
Not cool, Nintendo.
But essentially, Caleb, a kid gets sucked into a video game universe, and there's the N team and the villain team, and Kevin is the kid's name, and Princess Lana, who wasn't really a
She was just made up.
But they all hung out with Simon Belmont and Kid
Who
Icarus.
is a fucking buffoon.
Yeah, he's very conceited.
He's very vain.
Yeah,
I've never even heard of
And
this.
he had the main guy had an NES for a belt buckle, and
Yeah.
it had special powers, and he had a zapper.
he could pause or jump really high or kind of.
And Kid Icarus was on the team, and then on
Mega Man was on the
Yep.
team, and then
and Game Boy later.
That's right. And
Sorry.
And here's the tie-in. Game Boy was voiced by none other than Frank Welker.
Okay, we
that's
brought
right.
it back.
I love that show. Yeah, and then the bad guys was Mother Brain was the leader, and then there was an Eggplant.
Eggplant Wizard.
Yeah, I can't remember anybody else. Oh, King Hippo.
Boy.
But Mother Brain was amazing because she talked like this.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean it's racist for Ryan to do that voice, but
It's not. It's an impression.
It's like Thomas.
and damn it, I am not going to do that voice. Everybody, this is Aaron speaking. Also, you're leaving out Dr. Wiley was also. one of the
I
main-
forgot
the
about
main
that. Yeah,
villains of the show.
it's funny. I've been posting my 1980s mural that I did.
Yeah,
on Twitter and stuff. It's also on DeviantArt, but I've been posting segments of that, which I don't know how to put a 12-foot post. I've been playing with
I wish there was a way.
Yeah, to do a video of scrolling across it. I don't know how to do it. It's 12 feet long, but it's only 8.5 inches tall. So I've been posting the bits of that, but Captain N is on there. Muppet Babies are on there. Garfield's on there. Yeah,
Smurfs?
all that's Smurfs. Absolutely,
I think
Smurfs were in the first panel. Well, I just posted number 2 yesterday.
I did not love the Smurfs, and I didn't really love most of the Disney shows like Gummy Bears and.
Oh, I liked Gummy Bears.
I liked Gummy Bears a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Magic Potions.
I think Muppet Babies was my favorite, just because.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I mean that. They
did some cool stuff. There was some cool Star Wars episodes of that.
They dug deep for archival material. Like they would bring in.
Yeah, they would use scanned images a lot.
Yeah.
They would use like textures and things like that. That they had the animated world, but they would also have like an actual scanned painting of like the Mona Lisa or something, and then somehow interact with it and go into a new world. Like they weren't afraid to bring non-hand drawn animated elements. into it.
I think someone had to be really busy, like digging up that stuff. I guess obviously the studio that owned that could get access to Star Wars and other aspects.
I'm sure anything can be licensed out to a degree.
Yeah, they must have had.
I'm sure Henson and George Lucas were contemporaries.
That's a good point. Henson had some pull.
he wouldn't know punk ass.
No.
So before we get into it, favorite 8-bit or 16-bit games?
Holy
era?
shit.
Your
Well,
top one.
I mean, Castlevania is way up there.
You guys obviously know my favorite Nintendo
Are you
game.
F-Zero?
That's
Super Nintendo.
NES.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Super NES.
Favorite Nintendo game?
Ryan made a shirt about it.
Oh, Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Oh,
Original
yeah.
I'll
Romance
put up
of
a
the Three
picture of the
Kingdoms.
shirt I made for you.
Yeah, and it is.
It's all math. It's that game.
It's my favorite. For some reason, I love that game.
I remember when we
Romantic.
played that, the one time we played that recently, well, it was probably
you own
a
it
year
now.
and a half ago. But yeah, I do own it on NES. But Aaron and Caleb were playing it, and Caleb got so mad because Aaron was a little drunk and like telling him how to play. And he's like, I know how to play this game.
Yeah, it's like giving me advice.
I'm like, you gotta feed rice to your people, or your troops are gonna die. There's a monsoon coming, man.
Yeah, something really happened where I was like, I'm done playing this tonight.
Well, I also kept falling asleep while playing it. So when it was my turn, I think I would just hit the B button or what until my turn was over. I quit caring because I was so sleepy.
It's a very boring game. I love it.
It's not boring. It's fun.
What about yours, Aaron?
Oh gosh. I posed the question. I should have thought.
Yeah, I
about
mean,
it.
I would say for me, Castlevania has a high replayability. It's really hard. I have been going through and trying to beat Ghosts and Goblins, and it is so fucking hard. I cannot. That's the one game I've never beat, and it is so hard. And it's.
You still haven't beat it.
No.
Okay.
And I'm trying to
because I've
do
been
it-
with you on nights where we're playing on later levels of the game.
Like, I'm trying also to do it without save states, which means you just have to keep playing and playing and playing because, to beat the game as it was originally programmed, and it's like,
You have to beat it twice.
you do have to beat it twice, but also there's no save code. You just have to keep playing because you have infinite continues, but
Gotcha.
unless you're playing on an emulator, which I have the Retron 5, you can do save states, and I try not to do that, but I'm like, man, I'm an adult. I have to do other things. Like, I
Right.
need to save it.
Right. I would say I played Mario 3 probably more than about any
Great
other
game.
I was
It's a
like
good game.
always jamming on that and trying to discover the secret.
I was addicted on Nintendo to Ninja Gaiden.
Oh,
Like,
God.
I was like, this. I've got to be able to beat this game.
I never beat it.
No, me neither. It's so
I loved
hard.
it though.
Really, really, really hard.
It was really unique for its time, like being able to stick on walls and
Yeah, and the animation was really.
and it was
the animation.
the
was
cut
really cool.
scenes. Yeah. The one other one that sticks out is Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
great.
it's so
It's
fun.
just one of the most fun games.
Fun,
of
fun.
all.
Which also is very that's one of the games where you can beat it
Yeah.
every time, and it's fun to
Right.
just go run through it. If you want to
Rampage
spend
through it.
half an hour playing a game to beat, that's a good one.
I've thought about trying to buy those cabinets, those emulator cabinets that'll house like thousands and thousands of old arcade games just to have in the basement, and
Yeah.
that would be pretty fun. Actually,
There's
You should,
a-
like,
you
play original.
You
arcade
should definitely get
Contra.
one of those.
Please chip in.
Absolutely. There's a 60-in-1 cabinet at work, and
nice.
it has Juno First on it, which is a game I'd never heard of before. And I started playing, and it's an early 3D model. Like it's a space shooter, but it's not it's very unique. I'm surprised it's not more popular than it is. Oh, is it
It's a
Konami?
Konami.
It's a Konami game. And like, you have a
that's
radar
pretty cool.
screen at the top that tells you when the enemies are coming down.
So that's a radar screen to
Yeah,
tell you.
it tells you where they're coming down.
Interesting. So yeah, you are almost playing on a vectorized plane, but it's still a bitmappy game.
Yeah, it's not a vector game, but it emulates that kind of style.
It's
And the
very
enemies-
satisfying sound effects.
Oh yeah, and the enemies evolve. Like the longer they exist, the harder they get into harder and harder stages of themselves. Anyway,
We should go back to
1984.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an
I haven't
arcade
been
in
there in a while.
town
They've
called,
expanded quite a bit.
called 1984 that has mostly 80s and 90s cabinets, and yeah, it is great. Like we went there on a work like excursion kind of thing recently, and I got kind of like into playing Tempest, which is a very satisfying vector game.
I don't know. Is that the one with the skull face guy that appears out of
No,
nowhere?
that is I can't remember the name. You're thinking of the one where it's like run, coward.
Yeah.
No,
I hate that
Shatterstar.
game.
Or,
Oh,
no,
okay.
Shatterstar is Sinistar.
So that's what it is.
Sinistar.
I hate that game.
Oh no, it's the one where it's a like you have a dial and you roll around a down facing tunnel where enemies come up and you shoot them.
Talking about. Well, the last time I was there, I ended up playing Rampage the whole time I was there, and that game is
In
so
theaters now.
boring, but also satisfying. I guess it satisfies an ADD sort of.
Of like just kill or destroy
or
everything.
clear
on
out the
screen.
board kind of thing, because it's not really exciting
No.
at all. But I could
It's
play
the same
it
thing
forever.
over and over and over. And yeah, we've talked about this before, and I don't think I can. I don't know why. I don't find Rampage. I don't even think I have it for the NES, which is I probably should get it just to be a completionist.
Well, and it was one of those early video games where naked chicks
Oh.
in the bathtub. Eat
How many
If you were
times?
Lizzie, you turn into a naked lady when
How
you
many
die.
times have I spilled my seed to Rampage? Just getting to that. Because you have to stay hard while you're playing.
I know.
And then you see that digitized woman, you're like, titties.
Even though she's covering them.
Yeah, like a real
sensors.
tease.
So, guys, let's recap the last episode.
Oh, are we still on a podcast?
Last episode, Kup and Hot Rod walked the proverbial plank to the Sharkticon tank, but not to pitch their innovative new crotch-based storage system, rather to die. And, however, there's a plan up their sleeves, gentlemen, and they are going to avoid draining themselves of photon charges and instead are commencing a, quote, demolition derby, which, very interesting. I don't know what that means, but maybe we'll find out more as this minute kicks off.
Yeah.
So, at the 59:01 second mark, you'll recall that Kup and Hot Rod have dropped to the bottom of the tank, and there's dozens of Sharkticons, a school, you might say, diving after them. And in a very interesting tactic, they begin driving fast, circling the tank, disrupting the waters into a whirlpool type
Yeah,
effect.
it's very cool where they start driving on the walls and making it basically into a water vortex.
And by they, at this point, it looks like it's only Hot Rod doing it.
Didn't Kup go by?
Kup went with him, but I don't see Kup go by in the animated sequence here. Let's watch again.
Oh, he comes right behind him. Yeah,
Does he? Oh,
he's right
okay.
behind him.
All right,
He's
all
right behind
all
Hot Rod.
My bad. So they create this whirlpool effect. They allow the centrifugal force of this whirlpool to ultimately fling them from the tank onto a platform on the edge of the tank.
Yeah, that's at like the 59:13 minute mark, and it's the way they. I kept going back and forth because even as a kid, the way they eject from it was annoying to me. It just looked like they came out opposite, which it works. And I went back and forth looking at it, and no, they do come out the right way, but the animation.
It's not at an angle that is.
It's a weird
satisfactory.
angle. Yeah, it's a weird angle they come out at.
Yes.
I mean, I do like the creativity of the scene. I think it's interesting. It's like it's a neat thing that they did, but it just, I mean, it could have been executed a little better. But I like it.
These guys are warriors. They can improvise ways to, shake things up, get the battle going. So Hot Rod is at the edge of the tank here, and he gets into position. And there's a handful of Sharkticons that climb up the ledge here. And Hot Rod just drives and plows right into them. And that gets into what I feel like is a weird error here.
Yeah, I thought you were probably going to focus on this. Which, no, I thought it too.
Like meaningless animation errors.
Can I guess it?
Yeah.
Is it an animation? It's an animation error. Or
I'd
just,
say it's more continuity.
all right. So there's all of a sudden there's not a tank there anymore.
Right.
He's driving at a wall.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Instead.
because I thought the same thing, and I kind of gave it a pass because I'm like, well, maybe he turned a little bit and just drove through them that way,
Or maybe
But-
we're to assume that's a hit on a different grouping of Sharkticons.
Like
Yeah.
they just
He
cut
popped
out-
those guys, and it's like on to the next
They
one.
just kind of moved on to
But
this
you're
one.
right, it's distracting.
It distracted me.
Even as a kid, that distracted me. I was like, well, shouldn't he have just driven into the tank?
Yeah, exactly. So Hot Rod continues to blast into some Sharkticons here, and Kup joins in on the action.
And this is like, yeah, this is the part where like also the song starts going, I want it so bad I can't taste it, which I really like that part where it kicks into that. And then one of my favorite parts in this minute, where it's just about to get to, it's like where they transform and flip around. I love that part.
Yeah. Do you ever wish for even a second that they'd used bowling alley sounds during this scene?
I do not.
I do.
Thanks, Caleb.
I'm not gonna give it to you.
Hot Rod, eventually we get into a position where he drives straight at the camera, and they knock another dozen or so Sharkies. By the way, I'm calling Sharkticons Sharkies for
I
the
hate it.
duration of
don't
the duration
Don't
of
like
this.
that.
So Kup finishes off those left standing. They regroup and flip into robot mode. Hot Rod, haha, didn't even bend a fender. So we finally see some of the benefits of transforming in this scene, by the way. We get some car action. There aren't really, I can't think, are there any other vehicular action parts of the movie? I guess you could call him crunching the head of the kickback vehicular action. But
Doesn't he transform later on in the movie and drive out of Unicron's eye?
Yeah, that was the other one I was thinking of. They
guess
do.
so.
I have a lot to say about that when we get there, by the way. But yeah,
That would be considered.
I mean, they get to look out mountain fast.
yeah.
it just feels like transforming doesn't have much to do with anything in this movie. It's just some might call it a gimmick.
Like to sell toys.
So
So awesome
wait,
toys.
You're saying that transforming in this movie doesn't have much to do with it.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
Well, did it in the show though?
I don't know.
I'm having like an
This is an existential crisis about Transformers.
Oh God! Oh my God!
What's the fucking point?
Like, why are we even alive?
So I'll note that since I've been kind of following on it, that Hot Rod's transformation sequences have been getting less and less impressive, and this one doesn't seem really remarkable either, other than the flip thing that he does.
I do love the flip. They both do the flip,
but he's also kind of obscured by the Sharkies,
Sure.
so it's kind of hard to tell exactly what's going on there. So Kup smiles, but then he realizes they're not out of trouble yet. Not by any means, and he points to a marching Sharky, and
it's distracting.
He's gonna try to get that in as much as possible.
I don't understand this hill.
and he says, this is after Hot Rod says, yeah, didn't even bend a fender, and Kup says, yeah, but there's a lot more of those can-digging, grill-cracking things.
Which in a
What's he say?
what is it, Aaron?
Can-digging, grill-cracking.
I don't understand can digging.
Can digging.
Maybe that's a robot filth
Fucking
term.
a can. Like,
can digging.
Like, and here we are at 59:39, where this is almost like an emulation of Kup pointing at Hot Rod to get back to the city. You know.
right, yeah. He loves to point at the camera.
Yeah, which is also what I did on our poster. I emulated
true,
that pose.
Iconic Kup motion. So, in what's actually a cool sequence of events, a Sharkticon approaches the camera and jumps at Kup. They wrestle a bit, and Hot Rod shoots it in the face with his exhaust arm blaster.
Whoa.
Kup lifts it.
I'm sorry, we just paused at 59:44. Look at Cup's face. It's quite insane. He looks like that painting, The Scream.
Hey, he's got quite a yell face going on there. So Kup
That's
lifts
Cup's O face.
He lifts the Sharkticon over his head and tears off its fucking tail.
It's pretty awesome.
And then just throws the Sharkticon to the side. I had never noticed before this that Hot Rod actually shot the Sharky.
Yep.
And when its face turns towards the camera, you can see the blaster scar. Let me see if I can do it.
Oh.
So you can kind of see
That's
the
right
little...
there, a little smudgy.
Yeah.
Oh,
smudgy.
yeah.
Awesome sequence, which leads into another Sharky lunging at Kup, grabs his arm like a vicious attack dog. Hot Rod takes another blast at that creature, which singes its side, and Kup just casually tosses that creature away. So, great action. The drawings are a little lackluster. But what do you want? They got a lot of moving around to do, so you can't get too detailed.
There's a lot of things going on with all the Sharkticons in there and everything. So yeah, it's gonna suffer a little bit.
Some things have gotta, be
Something's got to
sacrificed.
give.
Yeah.
So a horde of Sharkies approach. Hot Rod muses, we can't hold out forever, but we can give them one humongous repair bill. And so he shoots at some Sharkies while Kup runs at the screen, whirling the tail like a mace. Mm-hmm. And I do love that sequence.
Yeah,
I think that
awesome.
sequence is animated pretty incredibly there. And we see Kup charge right into a group of Sharkticons. He smashes one.
Charge into a group of what?
Oh, well, I actually wrote Sharkies here.
There you go.
I wrote it.
Sorry. We see Kup charge right into a group of Sharkies.
There you
He
go.
smashes one right down to the ground. A second jumps at him. He takes the tail mace right to the side of the face, forcing its eye sockets out of its head. And at that point, we transition to Hot Rod, who steps back, rears back, and punches a Sharky square in the mouth. The Sharky drops.
And that's where the minute ends. Yeah,
right.
which is unfortunate because I love that. It's a weird cut because I guess we're gonna have to get into the next minute. But that's that's my favorite part of this. Is where Hot Rod punches the Sharkticon in the face.
It is a really cool part, and I think the animation starts to get better, if nothing else, for all the debris and smashing and carnage that they put up on the screen.
Yep. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Have we talked about Sharkticons in any other iteration of this show? I'm trying to remember.
Almost everyone.
But I mean, like historical type stuff.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, I don't have anything.
Oh, then why did you bring it up?
I think we were.
My notes indicate that I started to go down a path of Sharkticon research, but I did not complete.
Great.
I think we had a discussion about them as compared to the Alicons. I think we talked more about the Alicons at one point.
Yeah, the Alicons, which can speak, the Sharkticons, to all available information, cannot talk and are very much simpler.
Are the Sharkticons? Do they transform, or they just look like that?
They
all the time?
transform.
Yeah, we'll see that.
They become big fat guys.
So, well, then I guess with that,
does transforming even matter? I don't know.
it doesn't.
Apparently not. Good lord.
Well, why don't we get into the
Deviations.
In my version of the story, I don't think the Sharkticon was ever meant, the Sharkticon pit was ever meant to have liquid water in it, or liquid energon or whatever.
Right.
When Kup and Hot Rod drop from the plank, it seems they land on dry land, weapons drawn, and then they decide to do the demolition derby thing, but they just transform and immediately start slamming into Sharkticon. So there's no whirlpool escape scene. There is mention of a wave of larger, more powerful Sharkticons appearing after they've done some smashing that eventually appear and overrun and overpower them.
Oh, they get overpowered.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That makes more sense. The Sharkticons would have some water to swim around in.
Yeah.
Whereas
Also, their name is Sharkticons.
I still think they should have been called Piranhacons.
Yeah.
It could have worked. I like it better.
They are like
Let's write to Ron
They look
Friedman
more like piranhas.
and be like, "You dumb."
You're dumb.
Here's my critiques on your script that we're talking about on a podcast.
For fucking 90 hours.
Yeah.
It sounded so resigned right there.
We're on the home stretch, fellas.
Both of you.
We're just going to close this one out.
Guys, we just hit the 1 hour mark.
Yep, right here at the end of this episode.
Congratulations. So Ryan, what do you got going on?
Okay, well, basically, if you remember on the last episode, we were Hot Rod and Kup had the stun sticks because it's more of a gladiatorial situation, and Hot Rod had launched himself up to the lead Quintesson and pinned him against the wall with this stun stick. And the lead Quintesson said, "You cannot escape." And Hot Rod said, "Maybe not, but neither can you." And that's where we pick up another angle, Kup on the arena floor. He stands with the back against the tower and holds a stun stick out menacingly as a phalanx of Sharkticons confront him. And Kup says, "Well, lad, what now?" And Hot Rod maintains a hold on the Quintesson, furrows his brow, and says, "I don't know, but I'm open to any reasonable suggestion, and I'm talking anything." And then basically the Quintesson rotates its face to a smiling expression and laughs in a very ugly manner. And that's it.
Oh,
That's
man,
all there is for this one.
What a tease.
There's
of,
a fair amount in the
deviation.
next one, yeah.
All right,
but like
okay.
again, I've been trying to keep it with what the action we see
Sure.
in the movie. So
That's fair enough. Well, how do you guys feel about the... We can...
I'm the ghost of the iconic moment.
you know,
I'll just go first. In a bridge to the next...
I'll just go first.
In a bridge to the next minute, Hot Rod punching that Sharkticon in the face. As we know, there's going to be a good payoff. I've been using that word a lot lately.
Like that's what
Everything's paying off.
That's what I say when I come. I'm like, pay off.
That's what the sex worker says to you.
Yeah, and then there's the sound of a slot machine paying out.
7, 7, 7. She's like, "You wish, buddy."
7, more like a 2. That's her rating. Anyway,
I was thinking inches.
oh,
This is all
I have a
gotta go.
small dick. Is that joke? You're mean. I would second that. We're bridging over the next minute, but the part where Hot Rod punches the Sharkticon in the face, and then what we see, the aftermath of it, that's my favorite. Also, it's such a cool moment. It's a cool illustration. Hot Rod's legit being a badass. I just like it. Everything about it.
Also, Cup's Sharkticon tail.
Yeah,
makes
the tail
things
rip.
Pretty. I would give that a secondary iconic status. Caleb.
No, I don't have one. I don't even want. I should apologize to everyone. For what I was
To
doing.
everyone, individually.
Yeah, sorry.
Next time on the Autopod Decepticast.
Will Kup and Hot Rod be turned into a robo hors d'oeuvre? Will Slag exhibit the relatively positive side of his personality? And will Grimlock munch metal? You'll never be so happy as to hear these three big bozos cover minute 61 in detail next week.
Absolutely.
So keep listening to the show. iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and tune in and follow us on our social media. We're on that Twits. We're on that Faces. We're on that Instatime. All of them at Apod Decast. And visit our web presence at autopoddecepticast.com. iTunes users, rate, subscribe, anything cool going
It
on that
really
website?
helps us. Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to put up the things we talked about. And, I mean, Juno First, the video will go up there. But a bunch of
was
stuff
cool.
about the Konami code's going to go up there.
Okay.
I don't know why this episode you got so cutesy with it. Like Sharkies and the
You know, we got a whole other episode of Sharkies coming
Oh,
up.
good. Everybody look forward to that. Gross.
Excellent. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, okay, bye.
Bye.
Cybertron!
Which did he? I can't remember if I told you I think I did, but that I bought an Atari 2600.
Do you already have the capability of playing Atari games even before you bought the Atari system?
I mean, you can play them on emulators, but I never had. For some reason, I don't really like emulators. I like to have the physical game.
I understand.
And it was, a questionably financial decision. It was only like $100 to get the
not bad.
2600. It's the 4-switcher, not the heavy 6er, but the 2600, and then I got like 10 games with it. And then I bought like 5 or 6 other games, which, I sent you guys pictures of playing Yar's Revenge, which fucking
I need to come over and play some Atari.
holds up. It is
Yar's
awesome.
Revenge.
Like, and also like playing Combat, like West and I played Combat.
That is a fun
It
game.
is super fun. Like, we played it for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It is ridiculously fun.
And I love the tank levels, but I think my favorite was always the 3 airplane
Against
versus
the
one
one.
giant airplane level.
yeah. It's pretty ridiculous.
Oh, man.
Like, it is fun to just... The Atari games are fun because if you're like, you want to kill 5 to 10 minutes, just pop in one of those cartridges and play the game, and you're like, yeah, that was satisfying.
I loved bowling on Atari. Do you have
I don't think I
bowling by
have...
any
No, I
chance?
don't have that.
It's so bare bones.
I don't think I've
It's
ever even played that.
It's awesome. Like, it's basically 10 dots on one side of the screen, a stick man, of course, on the other side, and you throw a little square at those dots. And you can position your player before you do the throw, and then after you throw, you do have some limited control over the curvature of the ball. But I could play that thing forever. It was so fun.
I do have our E.T.,
Hey, Clive,
which is
good. That makes you a true collector.
frustrating and terrible, but not
What
as
was-
bad as everybody says.
What was that game where, I'm trying to remember, maybe you were UFOs or something, but you're flying around, you're shooting, like, everything you can, but helium balloons, I remember. This is a game that you and I would play at your mom's house when we were kids. It was...
Not Moon Patrol, because that's one.
No, not Moon
That's
Patrol.
one I still need.
No,
to
this
get,
one was
but-
nuts. Like, it was crazy. Like, there were always enemies all over the screen. Like, it got hard eventually. And among the things you had to shoot up were hot air balloons.
I do remember
It was
that.
like,
I don't know what game that is.
oh well.
Well, I'll tack this on as one of the things that you hate, and maybe one of our listeners will tell us what game that is.
I don't know if I did an adequate job of describing
It's
it.
your UFOs.
I don't
and
know.
your
There's
shooting.
something you're shooting, and actually,
I believe it's a shooter.
it is a side-scrolling shooter. It's kind of like Moon Patrol, but just way crazier. 'cause
Yeah.
what you're shooting makes no sense, and there's just a lot of enemies, a lot of shootable things. And I think you're flying. I don't think you're on like a rover. But
There's also a weird game, I can't remember the name of it offhand, but that I got as just part of the package of buying this 2600, where you're like it's like I think it's called Shooting Gallery, but where you could like have 30 games where you switch it and it's basically different versions of the same game, but you're either like stationary guns or you can move the guns, but it's like you're in a shooting gallery and you're just shooting things as they come across the top, which is kind of like seems ridiculous, but is very addictive.
my video game memories with Caleb are mostly centered. I remember playing Romance of the Three Kingdoms at your house, and I had a history. Before I played with you, I actually played Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2, which was a Super Nintendo game with a friend of mine, Ellery, at his house. And we would stay up all night playing that game. And so I loved playing Romance of the Three Kingdoms at your house.
Yep.
But it was more limited. I mean, obviously it's a Nintendo
I didn't have
game.
a lot
It
of
was more
games.
limited in scope than 2. Like, the one thing that bugged me about 1 after playing 2 was that with Romance 1, you could only have one general do something, and then your turn was over. In Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2 was essentially the exact same game, slightly better graphics, but your turn was over after you've got all your generals to do
Cycling
something.
through all your generals.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you have a 2600, Caleb? An
No,
Atari
no.
of any kind?
I only had. I didn't have any system until I got. I got a Nintendo
NES, yeah.
Yeah, and I pretty much stuck. I shouldn't say pretty much. I did just stick to NES. Like I did get a Game Boy, and then I got the Super Nintendo, and then after that I never moved on to getting like a PlayStation or anything. I simply just owned the original Nintendo, Game Boy, and Super NES, and I had maybe a handful of games for each.
Remember playing Hella F-Zero at your place?
I was
I
and
have
Pilot
F-
Wings.
I have
I
F-Zero
don't
and
have-
Pilot
we
Wings.
played
Oh, you didn't have Pilot Wings?
Pilot Wings is
We
great.
played it, but I don't know if I owned it or not. Maybe I did. I played F-Zero a lot.
I remember you were on a Dragon Warrior 3 kick for a while.
I played a lot of Dragon.
yeah.
I played a lot of Dragon Warrior. I beat Dragon Warrior 2. I got Dragon Warrior 3, and I swear to God, there's a glitch in there. There was a glitch in that game where I couldn't finish it. I mean, I'd done everything. Essentially, I had finished the game. I couldn't beat it. There was some kind of weird programming issue, I think. Played a lot of Ninja Gaiden, played a lot of Mario. But what I was in Super Nintendo, I would just play F-Zero all the time. And actually, I think I was a really good player. I'd like to know.
Like you could have gone to tournaments.
Yeah, I really think I could.
Esports.
Yeah, I really think I could have. Like I was always obsessed with improving.
It's just
times.
that game is was way ahead of its time.
Yeah, it was a great game.
It's pretty great. I have it and I play it, and it's amazing. That and Pilot Wings are probably the two games I play the most on the SNES.
Does your Retron play Famicom games?
Yep.
And
Famicom.
yet my bad. And yet none of us have played the original Famicom Nintendo Transformers game.
Yeah, I should get that. It looks real fun.
I'm surprised that you don't already own like the Transformers game.
Yeah, I haven't looked up how much it is. I'm sure it's probably expensive.
I don't even know anything about it.
Oh, there's an AVGN episode about it.
Yeah, dedicated
and
to
it is hard and terrible. This is
Uh-huh.
basically the game. I do have some Famicom games. I have like the Famicom version of Icebreaker and a prequel to Bubble Bobble.
We need to
that's
start.
You
not
get it
bad.
for $10.
We need to start the episode.
We do,
Yeah,
because
let's
Caleb
do it.
has to get
All right,
out.
here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
You two-
Here we
you
go.
two, maybe.
And of course, I have another tangent to take us on, so we'll be fine.
Well,
This will be a short one.
Blow cells, where we sell good.